Okay. The question is, why did this case take 5 years? And, the wheels of justice grind slowly. And I think that this particular court is really overwhelmed and understaffed. And again, I think in theory, if it worked the way it was supposed to, and if you submit to a vaccine, you get injured, you quickly get compensation. But that's not what's happening here. And again, I do not fault the court. I mean, I reject the entire no fault liability process. I reject the fact that the pharmaceutical companies are not responsible, and I think that's what's led to these tragic injuries. But again, that is a question of litigation, no question of legislation, not really litigation. Now, I think there's two reasons why this took so long. The first reason is, as I stated, the wheels of justice grind slowly, and there was some back and forth with medical records and things that are typical in litigation. But, many people know out there that I was facing suspension of my law license throughout this entire litigation. I was charged with, maliciously charged with attorney misconduct just shortly after I filed this case. And this isn't the only case that I handled. Currently, we have approximately 20 cases going. Really tragic injuries, a flu death case for a little girl in Vermont. This case, a young man being injured by chickenpox shot. And although I did manage, or we managed to get the maximum there was, and thankfully so, that this harassment that I've experienced that is similar to others that we know, and Dr. Wakefield, currently Dr. Sears, that investigation, anyone who pops up here and says something or do something, they go for our licenses. Fortunately, was dismissed, but it was an incredible doing this type of litigation. It not only impacted this case, but it impacted every other kid that came forward. But fortunately, unlike some of my colleagues that were not as successful, I actually, all the charges against me were dismissed. And so I would say that it was a hybrid. It had to do with the prosecution of my firm and the fact that this one particular case was extremely complicated. But in the end, it probably could have been settled maybe sooner, but we did get the maximum amount awarded. And I guess to summarize on this, when I took these cases and I came public and I went public, I thought everybody would say, wow, thank you. We love you. Thanks for sharing with us. And I realized very quickly that that is not how people in this movement um, have been received. And unlike my colleagues who are before medical boards, I was fortunate enough to be in a court of law, and I had a much fairer chance in both this case and my own charges. Whereas I don't think the medical doctors have had that, and they're afraid. And it's tragedy. It's causing more and more and more injuries.